What's up, guys? As you can see, there's a lot of swirl marks, and this is on my trunk. So today what I'm gonna do is a quick polishing tutorial that how I do it to get rid of my swirl marks on my car. Everything else on my car looks great. This trunk though, I bought on online, so it was a used trunk. I had it shipped to my house, and the paint conditions, the previous owner or maybe the guy shipping it, you can tell did not treat their paint with extra care. So what I'm going to do today is show you some process of how to clean it, prep it, and then the steps I use to level up these scratches, as well as how to protect it. So stay tuned. Alright, so the things I want to use is pretty simple. This is just going to be used to wipe down my car. It's kind of like a detail spray, and it also has a sealant, but I'm going to be knocking out the sealant anyways. But this is going to be used to wipe down any kind of loose dirt or debris. This right here is my Menzerna high polish finish. It's basically kind of like a abrasion, like very, very, very fine sandpaper. So what we're going to do with this is what's going to be cutting the paint, and it's going to be taking away most of that the swirl marks you see. After the swirl marks are gone, you need to protect it. This is what I use right here, Power Lock. It's a polymer sealant. What happens is you put it on, you let it kind of cure a little bit, and then it bonds to the paint, keeping it protected. Makes it like a hydrophobic, keeps it pretty clean. So that's what I'll use here. And you could do this by hand. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this bad boy right here. It's my Porter cable. It's a dual action polisher. It's like $100. It's cheap. This pad's from Chemical Guys, but I use Lake Country pads, but these are an orange pad too. It works really well. So with these tools, you'll be able to do your whole car. I'm just gonna do the trunk because it's really bad compared to the rest of my car, and I can tell, not a lot of people can tell, hey, your car looks really clean, but deep down inside, I know that this trunk right here has a lot of swirl marks, and it takes away, it dulls the finish a little bit, and just as a detailer, I just can't keep going. So we'll see. I'm gonna spray it and any kind of loose debris. I'm usually pretty generous with the amount of sprays I have because I want to have that kind of good lubrication so it doesn't scratch up the paint any more than it is. And this is my microfiber towel. Also, just use what you like. The cheap ones work well, but they're kind of like throwaways. This one right here, it's just a blast to use because it's so nice and absorbs water and picks up any kind of loose dirt very easily. All right, so next off is using the machine, the pad. I'm just gonna do the trunk. I actually already did the spoiler and stuff. We had great results. So what I do first is I prime the pad. Try to, that same spray, get the pad nice and lubricated, and then put on your compound. Shouldn't take too long, so a little bit goes a long way. So you don't need too much. The next thing some people do is they use their hands to rub in their compound. You can do that, and then you can also smear it onto your paint too. Something like this. This is what I like doing, kind of smearing it on, and I have it on low speed because you don't want all the compound to sling, waste its product, and also gets pretty messy. If you have one of these little tags, I usually pull them off because these ones, it's pretty abrasive. So we're just gonna check our work right here. Make sure there's no little rocks in our pads, or the paint's holding up pretty well. And right here I can tell that it looks a lot better already, but it's not. I should go maybe one more pass, and around these edges I can tell. You probably not tell in the camera, but you really want to eye your paint level, and you want to see Okay, right here needs a little bit more polishing, right here, etc. So this is looking good. We just need to do a few more passes on this area, and we can move on to the next area. You can work in squares, like boom, boom, and really be thorough with your job. So I'm just gonna keep polishing the rest of this, and then we'll move on to the sealant phase. So I'm gonna do this part next. I already started working on it a little bit, but it's really hard to reach in these areas, so just be careful. You don't want to hang your polisher on these edges because, you know, it'll basically burn through the paint real good. So just be careful. For the DA, you're usually pretty good with you can't really burn paint because it's so safe. But you just want to have that in mind where you're trying to keep it flat as much as you can. Keep this area flat instead of like this. As you can see, it's a big difference already. You can tell it used to have like that spider web effect, and this is just from the polish. I didn't add any kind of sealant or wax, so it's gonna even look better than this. Close zoom up. But yeah, I would almost say this is almost 95%. But it's looking so good right now. And this is kind of what you want from your paint. You don't want it to have all these refractions and reflections that are unwanted, because when light hits it, if it's going through the scratches, it doesn't really look pleasant to your eye. So it's a good improvement. I'm gonna finish it off with wax or sealant, then wax, and it's gonna even fill it in all the nooks and crannies even more and keep it protected from the sun and all the other outer elements. So it's easy to do. Let's finish it up and call it a day. So finishing it off, I'm gonna use the sealant right here, Menzerna. I like that stuff. You're gonna use an applicator pad. We're just gonna hit it up with that same technique. Keep it kind of lubricated a little bit. So I know it's very soft already, but I just like to have those layers of protection. So put some of the sealant on. So sealant is kind of like wax. Keeps your paint protected. Just gonna butterfly real quick. Whoosh. But sealant's more resilient. It's tougher. That way, on hard rainy days, summer, it's the clarity. It does make it shinier, but it doesn't make it as shiny as, let's say, a carnauba wax. But it's tougher. So this is why I use this kind of like a base coat for protection, because you want your base looking nice and good foundation. And then I add layers to it. Add the carnauba wax with a nice deep finish. Sealants usually last like 6 to maybe 12 months, so it's tougher. Wax generally, most of its effectiveness goes away after like a month. So, and if you notice how I do it, is I don't do little circles. I like to do back and forth. This, people say, if you ever watch Ammo, pretty much it just reduces the swirl marks, and it's easy to check your work too. So just get a nice even coat, you should be good. As you can see, the sealant is on there. Did the whole trunk. Now what we have to do is I would follow the persons who made its requirements are. It requires 3 hours minimum. So I'm gonna wait and let it cure a little bit. Then I'm gonna wipe it off and then add that layer of carnauba. So see you guys in 3 hours. All right. So sealant is nice and dry looking. It's been about like 3 hours. It's getting dark now. I'm just gonna wipe it off and then add the carnauba, and things are gonna look good. So just some carnauba wax to get it nice and shiny, and also the next layer of protection. I'm gonna add that on, and then I'm gonna show you guys. Maybe a look around and see how it looks like after. Alright, so this is pretty much the end with the sealant on, with the wax on. I have my little contraption right there. So Things are looking good. I don't see any swirls. I was going for like a 90% fix. It ended up being over 90, like 95. I mean, the paint looks just good, maybe even 99. But the paint looks so much better. It feels better. It's smoother. Let me increase the brightness real quick. And all in all, it's an easy mod that anyone can do, and requires a lot of finesse, effort. You know, it takes time. You know, going through those passes left and right, up and down. You can have a guy do it for you, but you saw what I did. All the tools are super accessible for someone to use on their own, and you can get good looking results like this. And yeah, having a nice shiny car is just something else. I tell you, the car looks better than brand new when it comes to the paint finish. Anyone can do it. Have a clean car, have it nice and shiny. But yeah, I didn't want it to rub too bad because it is a pretty aggressive offset. Let's see if you can get that right there. So it does poke out a little bit. That's why I got the mud flaps for my car, because you don't want it to have all that sling onto your car. So yeah, that's a little close look on the NT03s, SBCs.